Now, what is a personality? How does this story come out? See, we are a brain. We are affected by parental, teaching, peer and social impact. What do you mean by parental? Parents, what values they teach us. Teaching, teachers, school. When we go to school, we learn from there. Peer means our friends, our age group. And social impact is what we read from the society we have to do. It affects our mind, yes or no. Somebody is writing a story of engineer. How did he come to know of an engineer when he is still in class 12th? Because he has seen this society. Somebody thinks of a helpful person, helpful friend. Why does he think? Because he has been affected by peer. Somebody thinks of right values of helping others, as parents have said. Why? Because parental. Somebody thinks in the school how to do a discipline story because of good teaching. Am I right? Plus, observational intelligence also affects him. He observes the society. We are not expecting you to observe the negativity of the society. We are looking for positive people. So we want your observation should be of positive people, not of negative people. Is it clear? Yes or no? That is something very important. Then we come down to your emotional tendency. What do you mean by emotional tendency? How your emotions run. Now, what is emotions? Emotions are the software in your mind which has a long impact on you. Some people are kind by heart, so their emotions tend to enjoy kindness. They like to help people kindly. Some people are brutal in their heart, so they think only myself, push the other inside these. Now this can happen. It is all parental and psychological impacts of the early times. Is it clear or not clear? So someone has it, emotional tendencies. Now you don't have to be brutal, you don't have to be too kind, you have to be balanced. So if your emotional tendency is balanced, it is welcome. Now, psychological perspective. Now, what is psychological perspective? See, everyone sees, now somebody watching from there is watching my face in a different angle. Somebody watching from there is watching my face in a different angle. Someone from there watching differently. And the ones who are sitting in the back bench will be watching me differently. Am I right? So, everything has different perspectives. People see things differently. They have different psychological perspectives. They think, okay, this person can be this person can be this person can be. So automatically the perspectives differ. But it comes from understanding and intelligence. Now here in our class or in our session, when you will study, when you will read, when you will decode success, you will understand that some of your perspectives are wrong and some of your perspectives are strong and they are beautiful. So what will you do? You yourself will correct your negative perspective and go by the right perspectives. Suppose I tell you to take my picture, best picture, right? And tell you that take photographs of me which can look very smart, though I'm sorry to say, with a lovely set of vanished hairs and the other things, I can hardly expect much. But suppose I request you that you take a picture of mine from the front or from side or from other, there will be an angle where it will look best. Am I right? Not that I am best, but that picture will be comparatively better than the others. Am I right? It will look good, it will look appealing, it will look simple, or it may look reasonable, whatever you call it. But some will take from an angle which will not be good. Similarly, your psychological perspective to situations can be right, can be wrong. There are some people who are revengeful in their perspective. So what do? They destroy the other person who has sometimes disturbed them. But there are some people who forgive the person and they ignore the person. They realize that those people will never change. Chameleons never change. They have to change colors. They will be brutal, they will be shrewd, they will be dirty because they've been living in that circumstance where they think not only of themselves and think wrong for the others. But some people will be vindictive, some will be forgiving. So one of the best approach of psychological perspective is to move forward, to live the future. Yes or no. So right perspective is to be understood. Then comes situation. Many things are situational. That is, there are situations. Nobody is bad and good in the whole world. Remember one thing. They are different byproducts, and because of their situation, they are like this. The people who are staying in Baluchistan, where there is too much of crime at the present moment, protecting themselves and killing the others is justified. Is justified. But in a peaceful zone, say of Luxembourg, which is a wonderful small country, very rich and nice, killing others will be wrong. So, situational perspective has to be understood. So, a right individual who has good parental teaching, good friendship, good impact, is able to observe rightly, has a balanced emotional tendency, has the right psychological perspective, and is able to read the situation, processing that, okay, in this situation, I have to do this with the balanced emotions, right observation of resources, everything, and right values. Then what will happen? A complete holistic personality will be created, which will be adaptable, analytical, and effective. Is it clear? Now, what do you mean by adaptable? He will learn to, or he or she will learn to adapt to everything. Effective, analytical means will analyze properly what is to be done, and effective because then will be able to solve the problem, and thus can be a wonderful leader. Is it clear? Now, this is the kind of thing which they have. That is why this, now I'll teach you something more. There is a boy who's come from village, and there's a boy who's come from Mumbai. Now, one of you have come from Kerala, and one of you have come from Delhi, or the other person is coming from Air Force working and someone from Navy working. You have different exposures. Am I right? So, if you have different exposure, now the village fellow has had parental teaching of village situation. So, there's no reason that he or she, whoever it may be, is writing a story of New York and New Jersey. There may be a person who has never been to New York. Why are you writing such story? Why don't you write stories with your opening your heart? Because that is what is the beauty of psychology. Right? So, if that person writes a village story with the right perspective, with good observational intelligence, with good emotions, balanced emotions, with good right perspective, understanding situation rightly, I think I'm going to select that person for a good story. Similarly, a person coming from Delhi is writing a story where they are showing that their parents and everything have taught them good value, or by their behavior itself the values will come up, and is showing that is able to observe rightly what is to be done, is using the right emotions, is having the right perspective, is using the right, doing rightly as per the situation, will be a complete holistic personality for me also. So remember, you are already on the path of credentials. You already have credentials. You already have certain recognition of your personality. So go by that. Don't try to be someone else. Write things with very good thing, positivity, intelligently, as per the situation. Is it clear? Now we go down to the next thing. What are the things which they want to isolate? Psycho-cognitive skills. What do you mean by psycho-cognitive skills? You can understand. Psycho means mind, your behavioral, and cognitive means thinking pattern. You will be having a thinking pattern. Some of you believe that, oh, buzz off, man. There are some people who will say, okay, come and sit next close to me. This is all psycho-cognitive skills. The ability to think with the right psychological perspective and be able to read the stimulus. What is the stimulus? The picture, appropriately to process. They will be checking this. What is the approach of this person? Is it clear? Next. What will they check? Your observational and analytical skills. How nicely you observe and how you analyze. Now I am showing you an ambulance and a person standing there, and you are seeing this as a box and a person gifting a Flipkart kind of this. How funny. Can't you see properly? So what is going wrong? You have not only observed wrongly, you have analyzed wrongly. But if you analyze it rightly, if you see it rightly, you will analyze. Is it clear? So that also they will see the ability to observe every detail and analyze holistically to generate appropriate and original thought with relevance to picture shown. Now there is a person sitting in the farmer and there are a lot of cows nearby. So if somebody writes a story on cow herdsman, yes or no? Gwala. Am I right? And somebody writes a story on a scientist sitting in a lab. Tell me which is appropriate. Observational and analytical. The one with the cow herdsman. So there are some people who come with pre-planted stories and they push anything. They don't see the picture, they don't analyze anything and just put it. No, this is wrong. There was once a wonderful student who used to write beautiful stories, and once or twice got screened out, and at that point of time I realized that what is the problem with this person? Why is he doing it? The stories are good, they are able to think properly, they are able to behave rightly, is well prepared for the interview. What was the problem? I realized the problem was that the person out of fear had certain pattern stories in the kitty box, and whenever they went there, they just wrote those stories. And as a result, those stories were total mismatch to the picture. Because they were neither using their observational ability nor analytical ability. They were mugging up. So don't mug up. You're not here to mug up, you're here to spark your brain. The moment you do it, you will be selected, trust me. And if you don't trust, well, you have the freedom to do whatever you want. You have to trust me. We are a symbiotic relation. You get selected, I become a better mentor. But you don't get selected, I'm a useless person. So simple. I'm not going to be a jargon and a pundit kind of person. Now I'm not going to challenge every Tom, Dick and Harry which is coming in the name of different banners. No, I'm not. All of them are doing a fair job with their ways. I'm doing my fair job in my ways. And that is what I plan. So I hope you understand this, yes or no. So learn from this. Don't write stories which does not observe picture and analyze it rightly. Analysis doesn't mean that you have to go into the depth of creating a research. Analysis means rightly putting all the things together. Is it clear? Next, practical decision maturity. Now some people start going back to the pictures of Marvel comics in which they create Captain America or a Superman or a Batman or a Spider-Man or some kind of hero who is single man hero. I was checking one story, somebody was trying to write a story where the hero alone did everything. Very impractical stories. I think that the hero is having a situation which is social, there are other people standing there, then why is he not working as a team? You getting the points? That means that the person does not have a tendency of working as a team. The person is either too greedy to take the credit or lacks the confidence to share the credit. What did I say? Either the person is too greedy to take all the credit or the person lacks the confidence to share the credit. So when you work as a team, you don't bother about credit, you bother about the solutions. So don't make single-handed heroes. Is it clear to all of you? Yes, no. So here practical decision is important. Maturity. What is maturity? Maturity tells you that every time when you do good, everything doesn't come back to you. It comes on the long run. When you create good relationships of helping each other, you're not doing it to tomorrow take out the milk. Rather, you're doing it on a long basis. And that is how it runs. Clear? Yes or no? Here, the ability to plan and take practical decision and maturely act to complete to positive result. That's all. Right? And that doesn't mean that it has to be rewarded. It can be okay. Positive result, finish. We'll teach you more. Keep staying or keep watching and keep your concentration and focus alive. If you don't have it, I'm sorry to say, you won't be able to sustain the selections. Please do it. I can see a lot of you know what is the problem? You are living in a reel culture area where everybody is seeing a reel and flipping it over. So over the period of time, your concentration span is reducing. And this is the reason why many of you, in spite of great potential, being astounding personality, are missing success or delaying success. Many of you kill your desires and concentrate, and you complete the thing and then leave. You automatically have a great advantage over others. So remember, the strength is inside you, not inside me. Is it clear? So more you concentrate, more you sustain to learn everything, you will do better. Let's come back to this organizing ability. Now, when you have already done all this, how will you organize the story? The story has to be fluid. It has to have a flow of thought. It has to have a sequence of action. It has to have a sequence of emotions and culmination. Yes or no? So here the organizing ability to organize thoughts sequentially and write story in a fluid fashion from beginning to end. So to be understood rightly what they are saying is very important. Yes or no? Remember, that is very important. Clear? So please understand this, and that comes out when you write the story. Now some stories, something is written here, then this is there, then this is there, and when you see it is not having a proper sequence, it looks unorganized, it looks like you are disturbed, you are not writing calmly, you're not writing sequentially, and that story gets worst. When you write a story, just read it. Are you able to read and see it is calm? You will do wonders. There is no perfect state. Again, I am telling you, that is why I am teaching you all this. At your home, you will thank me, and you must. Once you get selected, please do that. There have been certain boys and girls who have been very, very kind to thank me on a personal level or an email that they've got selected. Well, I'm not here to claim every success because they have picked up things, but they have picked up very nice points. And I'm grateful that they at least thank. Gratitude is missing in the present generation. Now what will happen? Tomorrow, those kids come back to me and expect me to help the fraternity, require somewhere or the other. It's a banyan tree. I will certainly make my best efforts. But people without gratitude, would you like to help them again? Probably not. So I'm human. I'm not a god, but I will help the best. So here we go to clarity of thought and writing. Now, what is clarity of thought and writing? If you are writing something, it should be readable. Don't use tough words which is not understandable. Do not write words which are mixing somewhere here, then this, then that, then this. Don't do that. So, the ability to be clear in thought and write with simple words, leaving no space for misunderstanding. There should be no space. It should be well connected. Sometimes what happens when we are rushing up, you must have seen that. That is very common that we are rushing up in writing. So we miss some line and we write in a hurry something else in advance, missing the crucial connecting point, the bridge. And thus we see, story not understood. Clear? Should correct that. Next we come down to originality and positivity. This is a very important point. Many of you are writing stories which you copied from net or from other places and repeating it over and over again. Believe me, that psychologist is fed up reading the same stories. He can read that you are not being original. So if you really want to clear the psychological evaluation which he does, you should write something original. Now, what do you mean by original? Are you going to create an invention or discovery? No. In the same story, with your new perspective, with a different actions or with more actions or with different situations or with different city or with different attitude, you can always make changes to even a common story. In my father's time, there used to be a story of a hero and a heroine falling in love and finally marrying. Then in my time also I saw this. Then in middle time also I saw this, and in the present time also I see this. That story of hero and heroine falling in love with each other is common right through all the time. Am I right? But the style differed. In my father's time, there was a different style. In my time, there was a different style. In the present time, there is a different style. In the present, there is a different style. Yes or no? Evolution has walked in. That means the same type of story, if you use your brain, will evolve into a new format. Is it clear? Understood, not understood? So you don't have to say that I am discouraging that if you see a field, you don't have to write a story on a farm and you have to write on something else. No, I am not saying this. Yes, but a field can be interpreted differently. We have posted videos before how one picture can be interpreted differently. And you can understand this. So please use your brain, love yourself. I'm here to support your development. And once you develop your mind, you're going to do beauty. Let's go further. In the ability to be original in both perspective and written story, as well as having a positive approach ending with achievement. Now look at this positivity in the faces of these kids. Beautiful. One can feel the cheerfulness, originality. I deliberately selected this photograph to make you understand how beautiful, how positivity charms people. How original picture charms people. Am I right? Yes or no? Everybody loves to be captivated. That's exactly what we really want to do. Send a message across. Let's go further. Time management. Since you are given only 3 to 4 minutes, you cannot stand confused. What should I write? What will I do? What will I do this? What will I do this? No, you have to write. And the time management has to be there, the ability to act impressively within the time frame, both in writing and in narrating as per the time. Even in narration, you will get certain. Now you are giving a long narration, officer will get irritated, we will say, keep silent, we have understood next. And that can be embarrassing for you. And probably the reason of your rejection, that you don't know how to draft your thought process. You will say, what is this? Can't I be my original self? Original does not mean that you don't get out of the stage. Yeah, I am giving a long lesson, understood. But I am doing it for a purpose of your teaching. If I would have supposed to give a short speech on certain thing, I would have done that. But here you and me are exchanging knowledge for each other's learning. A complete staple food is required. So these 10-minute videos is not going to do the wonders. You have to have patience to understand everything. And suppose I break it into 10 minutes part, it breaks the rhythm. So I'm sorry if I am forcing you all guys to bear it. Is it clear? Understood this time management? You have to write in the story. So these are all things which are checked. Now remember one thing very beautiful. This line is very important. Fulfilling expectation, the right performance. I want to tell you something. They do not say in the conference that you are good or you are bad. They say that you are appropriate or inappropriate for the armed forces. Am I right? And then only they say you are recommended because you are appropriate for the armed forces, and you are not recommended because you are inappropriate for the armed forces presently as per your performance. That means they have certain expectations from you that if you are of this kind, showing this quality in this situation, in this arena, in this evaluation, they will select you. You're not good or bad, you're not weak or strong. So remember, tomorrow when you are going to your mother, she has certain expectation. Behave like that, behave as per her expectation, she'll appreciate you as a son. But if you'll treat your mother in a guaranteed fashion and mistreat her in a way, she will not like it. Your wife will desire a different treatment. Your sister will desire a different treatment. Am I right? Yes or no? Similarly, your husband will desire a different treatment. Your father will desire a different treatment. Your brother will desire a different treatment. That means if you have this thought process that what I have to do so that I get selected is very important. Because the point is, it is not about you being good or bad. Nobody can search anyone's soul in 5 days except what they express properly. Mark my words, nobody can evaluate anyone properly in 5 days, not even a month, years. Many times people complain, I knew the person for 10 years, but he could have done this, I never knew. Man, people change. I was telling this thing to the student that a predictability ratio is only 40 to 50%. Or max to max 60%. We cannot predict anyone 100%. And the moment we do that, we are doing a mistake. We are doing a blunder. Because predictability can be done only 40 to 60%. So when you see a person, you realize that is why in the SSB, if you get 40% marks, you are recommended. That means you can be predictable to that degree. Because we have a dynamic shade in our personality. And the dynamic shade keeps changing. Imagine you are a wonderful hero, but you have gone through a very bad ordeal of prisoner of war. And then you return, you will change. You will be forced to change. You will become disturbed. You will be cured. You will be going into the different places, and probably you will be back into the job or you will be retired because you have had a bad experience. So similarly, personality change. So predictability is to only a certain level. Is it clear? So I am repeating this. Try to understand what is the expectation they have. So now we are going to another section of this. I hope you are understanding, all of you. But with examples, you will understand everything clearly, which we will give you in the last. As per the officer's instruction, what does the officer tell you when they tell you to write a story? They say, write what did the hero see? Number one, what did the hero think and had led to the situation? What did the hero see? What did the hero think had led to that situation? कि भाई क्या हुआ? What did he see? What did the hero decide? What did the hero did thereafter? Once he must have seen something, then he must have did something. And what was the final result? They tell you all these 5 points in their own language. That identifies central character. What did the central character see? What did the central character think? Or what must have happened because of this? Then what did he decide? Then what did he do? And what was the final result? Why do they give you these 5 questions? First, understand this expectation. They want to see how you adapt role playing. Means how do you adapt who is the person and how I have to play the role. What kind of role I have to play. If you are not intelligent to adopt the role, how will you be intelligent to become a good officer? So they want to see your intelligence power. That do you understand what role you will have to perform, then in what situation. And you will have multiple roles to perform in a single day. Become an adjutant of a company and you will find you will have to do multiple jobs. Though adjutant doesn't mean a major, captain, colonel. It can be anyone. Like in academies, you have adjutant who is colonel, lieutenant colonel. Earlier it was major. Sometimes little more, whatever, it depends. That post is as a coordinating post. They do multiple jobs. Same thing, they want to see how you will adapt to the role, how will you see the situation, how will you act in that situation, and in the process, they will identify your intelligence and psychological perspective, the way you think. Let's go further. What did the hero see? So what should we write? Please. Here candidate is supposed to not only think of an appropriate hero, but also identify the situation rightly. Now what kind of appropriate hero you will do? If you are seeing a situation of, say, flood, you will think of a disaster officer. If you see a situation of broken bridge, natural that you will think of an engineer. If you see ill person, you may think of an officer. You may also think of a person who is attending to a patient, but you will also think of an officer. If you see a class, you will think either of a good student or of a good teacher. So appropriate hero means as per the situation. Am I right? The candidate must keenly observe the picture so as to be appropriate in adapting as per the picture. Now they are showing you a picture where there is a class happening in the garden area. So there the perception and the system will be little different, yes or no. So you will have to do that. Candidate must logically correlate hero to the situation and generate logical thought relevant to the situation at the need of the hour. Naturally, if you cannot do that, what did the hero see? So hero will see, then hero will think. Am I right? Yes or no? It doesn't end here. Go further. What did the hero think that led to the situation? Now here comes visualization power, which is part and parcel of intelligence. A person visualizes, okay, this must have happened, so this happened. I'll give you an example. Don't worry, we'll give you an example. You learn everything. These are only principles for people who want to understand deeply. And people who want only to understand, the last of the video, you have examples. The thought that would be direction of story should be matching the picture as well as should be of a mature level. Yes or no, whatever you're doing, you should be mature. It should not be silly and irrelevant. That is what it means. Mature means right wisely. The candidate must be intelligent to identify what was the cause. Now there has been an accident, so you will always identify, okay, this had happened, so this happened, so this is it. And then what is the demand of the situation? If there is an accident, whatever is the cause, they have identified. And then what is the demand of the situation? To help the person. Now imagine if somebody had a cycle, has fallen on the road just because he had tripped suddenly. The cause has been identified. What is the demand? To help him with little first aid if he is injured or help him repair his cycle. That's all. But imagine that accident is of a car with a bus. Then what is the cause? Different. And what is the demand? Different. Is it clear? Yes or no? Next, what all resources did the candidate identify and also generated? Now remember one thing. The resourceful person, the person who has intelligence to imagine many things, the person who has habit to have used different things will always think better in resourceful qualities. Rather than person who has never done anything, he will not be able to understand what to do, what will happen. They will only think of something like calling the police, calling the ambulance, but they will not think of anything how to use immediate situation. Because police and ambulance will take time to arrive. But till that time, you won't keep praying to the God that God do something, you will do something. Yes. Yes or no? Am I right? So the same thing is here. Clear? What did the candidate, why the hero thereafter decided to act upon? Now, after you put all resources, situation, understanding, demand, you will use something. Am I right? So that is what the hero would think that led to the situation. So this will help come in decision. What did the hero decide? This is also a point of repeating because already the officer has asked. The personal and social attitude of the candidate is recorded. Now there are some person who will say, accident was, so what can I do? I'll take a photograph and send it in WhatsApp and let people do something these days. Very common. They copy it and they post it in their social media rather than helping, yes or no. So bad attitude. But there are some people who will go and personally help. Right attitude. The perceptual style is right in terms of positivity. Now some people believe, oh, accident happened, everybody's died. That is negativity. But there are some people who believe, no. It looks a bad accident, but I'm sure the person must not have died. Let's go and help. Maybe in emergency we can still help. There's so many times when a person looks totally crushed, but suddenly you find everything working. And suddenly miracle happen. So what is that makes that miracle happen? Your positivity of helping. Am I right? Yes or no? Same thing. The emotion and attitude. If you have a good healthy emotion and right attitude, where you think for everyone, because you know emotions connect. Being totally calculative, being brutal will never help you. But being little emotional. Now that does not mean extremely kind, even to the enemies. That is not what I mean. Means something which is balanced. The candidate's practical thought process. Now what is to be done practically will also come because the hero is deciding. The candidate mature thought process in deciding the action. Mature means this should be done and this can be done, and also let's call the relatives because they won't keep. Now there are some people who pretend that they will go and help the accident and stay with that patient for 3 days. Is it possible? So what do you do at that time? You call up the relatives or call the other people. Am I right? Yes or no? So now that is mature thought process. What did the hero do thereafter? Now decision has been done, so it has to be done. So the solution proposed by the action done by the hero, certain amount of thing will be done. The systematic plan in subpart, you will do a systematic fluid plot and you will do it in subpart. We'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do this. Is it clear? Then resourceful thought process. Resourceful means we'll take the help of a medical store fellow, we'll take the help of a passing vehicle, we'll take the help of... Now this is a resourceful thought. That means you are able to visualize where you can get further help and help complete the process. Because you're not a magician that, okay, I am the Arabian, from the Arabian stories, you will suddenly have a carpet or a lamp, Aladdin's lamp, and here comes the ambulance. Here comes this. You will not have it. You will have to think. So that's it. The use of the resources, people and authorities in solving, acting, you will have to do that. You will also have to inform the authorities. These are all things. Is it clear? Now, when we talk about this, what was the final result? We basically look at how is your approach to life. The positivity, the result, is it positive or not? Because many people who will like to write an original story, they will show to add originality in the story, so they will show that the hero died. He sacrificed his life. All the dramatism we don't want. We don't want sacrifice of hero's life. We don't want any nonsense. We don't want a melodramatic story. We want a positive story ending with final completion of the action. Successful if possible. Is it clear? The positive result. The self-motivated approach. The hero should be self-motivated. He should not seek reward. You know who seeks reward? The person who is not in the habit of doing good things. But the people who are in regular habit of doing good things, they are used to it. They do not seek reward. They are happy with doing good. Remember, that is very important. We will be talking about that in detail in the next point also. Act not only for individual benefit but group and social benefit. There are many people who write stories where it is only individual benefit. That this way he became better than the others. We don't want that. Wherever it is something where he also grows and the society is benefited, the group. Because again I have told you, what is the expectation of the organization? They want somebody who will be an officer for the troops. They will care for the troops. They will think for everyone's benefit. So they don't want a person who is self-centered. Because then tomorrow he will not prove a good officer. Is it clear? So here, when not for individual but group and social benefit. I have the right, there a person who worked hard and he became the topper and he came first and everybody else did not become successful, right? Will not be selected. But if somebody says that he also studied, and that is why many a time people wrote common story like group study and all that study. All that thing is, again, don't repeat ideas, write something new. Did timely and right action to fulfill the demand of the situation. Naturally, if you don't do things timely, a stitch in time saves nine. If you don't do timely, you wait, then what will happen? That will be wrong. So if you have done timely action, wonderful. Lack of desire is rewarded by the hero, as I have said, as habitual and strong personalities do not act for reward. They get into the habit. Some people have manners and etiquettes as a regular habit. So they don't pretend, it is in their habit now. That is, habit is psychology. So is it clear? So this section will cover this. Now I'll give you a small break because we already had a 1 hour of it. So I'll give you the examples in the next part 1B. Done? Okay. Thank you.